The Solana Gaming Supercycle has arrived. Only the strongest players will carve their name in history on-chain. More than 30 legendary games await, each a battlefield, each a chance to rise. It's time to prove yourself in the arena. Join now. The Solana Gaming Supercycle has arrived. Only the strongest players will carve their name in history on-chain. More than 30 legendary games await, each a battlefield, each a chance to rise. It's time to prove yourself in the arena. Join now.
GM, it's Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to those that are watching. And you know what, man? It's a day of giving back. It's a day of being thankful. And I said to myself, what kind of stream can we do on Thanksgiving? And I'm like, man, tomorrow is a massive, massive day in the Solana gaming ecosystem. So maybe a thankful video stream will be, how the hell do you open these packs? How do we get these packs in the hands of everybody? So I was like, you know what? This is it. Drip Shop Live. We are going to get behind the mindset of what Drip Shop Live is first, what inspired him, and then we're just going to stop him from yapping because we all know what we're tuning in for. We want to know, give me the alpha. Give me what I'm supposed to be doing, how to open these packs, how to win the money, how to collect the cards. And, well, Javon, how are you, my friend? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Jorge. Great to be on the stream, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's tuning in as well. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Excited to just, man, like jam with you for a second here. But like, dude, like, man, I'm 38 years old. I've been through so many different crazes. I mean, I'm old school, right? The old school Pokemon trading cards of like going around on a table, putting them all out, you know, like put them in your binder, you know, like all that stuff, right? And now we're here in 2025. It's all digital, right? It's like, man, it's a different experience. But how did you like go down this rabbit hole? Like, how did this like kind of like one day just come into your head and you said like, okay, I need to solve something that's out there and I need to do it in Web3?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, again, great to be here. So maybe I'll just start by giving a bit of context to myself, and then what we're building at Drip and how long we've been building it. And I'll obviously, make sure we get time for the alpha, which is what's most exciting. So as you guys know, my name is Javon Lawrence. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Drip. Drip is a social commerce platform for collectibles. So we started the business about 4 years ago, primarily focusing on selling Pokemon cards on live stream, right? And what we basically happened is I got back into Pokemon cards during COVID, started joining some Facebook groups and saw some folks opening packs on live stream in those Facebook groups. But the core experience was just very, messy, very unsafe for users. And so we wanted to build a much better platform. So we started there, and then we've incrementally added on more ways for users to kind of engage on our platform. And our platform now, I would say, is more like a TikTok shop for collectibles. So you can buy collectibles on live streams from our hundreds of sellers. You can rip open our digital packs, or you can kind of scan through small videos where you can kind of see different stuff that different members of the community are collecting and purchase from them as well. So that's kind of like the crux of it. We started again 4 years ago. We've raised about 25 million in venture capital from leading investors in Silicon Valley. And then my background as well, just briefly. So, I'm originally from the Caribbean, so grew up in Jamaica, moved to Miami at 10. And, went to college in Northeast, worked a few different corporate roles. Most recently, I was a venture capital investor, and then as I mentioned, took the plunge about 4 years ago.
Yeah, man, super impressive, and congrats on the resume. Congrats on where you are today, and it's so cool to hear Facebook groups was something that you were just yeah, that experience is something that needs to improve. And let me kind of go down this rabbit hole of Drip Shop Live and get it going. But I have to ask, so collecting cards, opening cards, the experience, right? One of the beauties of Web3 is that immersive experience it could bring to gamers, to anybody, collectors, anybody that's really kind of looking for a safer way, transparent way, easier way to monetize, easier way to just be able to kind of, transfer, right? Because I think when you just think about going to the old conferences and everything of how you used to do it, the amount of time of investigating whether it's real or not, the amount of time of trying to figure out if I'm short $20, going to the ATM, man, I could go through horror stories of being a kid and doing all that stuff. And now it's load up a wallet, send the money. It's all verifiable on the blockchain. That right there has just dramatically changed the game itself. But what do you think is the biggest change of the game? And what are you really looking forward to as you build out Drip Shop Live for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the crux of collecting, and I think for anyone who, obviously there's a lot of folks here in the Solana ecosystem that collect and game, but the crux of it is really about, number one, being able to connect with community, right? That's a really, really important part. So being able to kind of have folks that have the same interest that you do and being able to connect with them. Also being able to kind of, deeply understand, get a deep understanding of the things that you're collecting, right? Whether or not you want to collect PSA 10 Charizards, or if you want to collect Dragon Ball cards, being able to kind of have the knowledge and the insight that you need to get up to speed to understand those things, and also have the, to your point, the transparency around what is the actual value of that product, right? And I think, the way that people used to kind of solve for these two things, community and then kind of the right transparency and understanding of the underlying assets they're collecting, to your point, is that, they first started by going to trade shows, right? And those have been happening for 30, 40 years within the TCG space, but it also happens across lots of other categories. And what happens is they go to those shows, they oftentimes are interacting with vendors who are coming in from all different parts of the country, and they're asking them questions, they're comparing prices, etc. Maybe in their local towns, they may go to their local card shop where they go and hang out all weekends. But I think what's starting to happen is that's just becoming increasingly more digitized, right? So the first kind of digitization of that was eBay in the late 1990s. And then, you started in the 2010s, you started having other social commerce platforms spin up, primarily with live streaming being the core modal, where users can actually jump on a stream and have an expert on there that has great inventory, that can talk about those products that you're deeply, that you're interested in, educate you on those. And then I think the next era is actually going to be increased gamification on top of all these collectibles. And so obviously the Gacha packs, which is our instant pack product, is one great way to do that, where users can basically get access instantaneously to, purchase product, see it on screen, make a decision if they want to sell it back to us, which is something that's like great that Web3 helps enable, and then transparently again see all the details about that specific product. And then so I think that's like that's the first phase of the gamification layer. But I think what's going to happen in the market is actually there's going to be multiple other games that you can do, because if you collect a digital version of a Pokemon card, there's lots of things that you could potentially do with that card within a digital ecosystem over time. And that's what we're really, really excited about building out in the future.
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of things. And I almost want to kind of come back to you and ask you a question, like building all this. One of the things, the beauty of Web3, I think, is like that digital creator economy that's being built, right? And I think when I think of this, right, like this is like the prime project subject case that we could say, like, man, there's the aspect of running it as a business. There's the aspect of the business itself. But one of the things of live streaming and all that is that creator economy that you can create. And I think crypto and blockchain offers you that. And I think like as we're starting to see more of the evolution of ICM and all these kind of like creator, tokenization of the tokens, like, man, this is a platform where it's just like one of those things, like instantly clicks. That makes sense to like have that on there. It makes sense to be on there. What I'd love to hear like your thoughts on like, how do you keep building Drip Shop Live, and who the audience is that you're trying to build it for, and how do you make two worlds come together, right? You want to make sure you're live streaming, but at the same time, you need the collectors to come on and spend.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a great balance, right? So I think one of the interesting metas that's been happening, it's on Solana now, but it's actually been happening probably for the last 5 to 10 years is creators, right? So you have these massive creators who are basically becoming the core distribution engines for lots of different brands and things like that. So you think about Mr. Beast, you think about like the Pauls, like they are all really, really critical. And they're now millions of creators of different sizes, and creators are really, really important because they get to kind of like educate and build trust with community. So we actually think creators are a really, really important part of our business. So our live selling business is fundamentally a creator business, where you have lots of small businesses that are hosting these live streams and selling on platform. The thing that we think that like those creators are actually going to be very, very important as we continue to evolve with our business. So one of the things that we do with our instant packs that's like different from kind of other gacha platforms is that we allow creators to create their own packs and to also reveal it on live stream if they want to as well. So natively on our platform. And then, over time, what we see potentially happening is that, these creators, oftentimes, if you're running a live selling operation, you are generating a lot of volume on our platform. So, meaningful revenue. You actually have a really consistent community. And the reason why that community is consistent is because you're selling products that from IPs that they're already passionate about. So it's like Pokemon, it's Dragon Ball Z, it's Yu-Gi-Oh, it's sports cards. These are IPs that users are already passionate about. So your retention is actually really, really good relative to other product lines, right? So we think over time that, again, we've mostly been a creator first platform, and we plan to continue to infuse creators at each step of our product. And we think that as a result of this, we're going to be able to, potentially allow those creators to actually get access to the capital markets on Solana, to launch their own tokens around the businesses that they've already been building on our platform. Yeah, I think you're on mute there, Jorge.
Yeah, for some reason it wouldn't let me unmute, and I'm hitting it 10 times.
Nice.
Technology, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It works when it wants to. I think as you kind of just highlight just a little bit of that like vision or the way that you kind of see it, makes me kind of go back to now the cards, the tradable cards, TCGs. You mentioned sports. You mentioned a lot of things. What do you think right now is just one of the things right now in Web 2 at least that they haven't been able to solve? I think like when I look at other platforms, you mentioned eBay, right? And it's like, man, like a platform like that, if blockchain was there, man, I like wonders what it could have done, right? But now we are here, and it's like, okay, we're seeing Web 2 very much watch Web 3 very much closely. We know that like a lot of research and development companies are like trying to figure out the case studies for us. Like when do they want to jump in? Regulation still up in the air. Like there's so many things. But I think we also have an advantage to all that, is that like if we could deliver it first, well, we should be able to, again, capture the crowd and eventually bring them.
Yeah.
From that, what do you think really much in Web 2 is still like missing from them to come into the Web 3? Is it just like, you think sometimes it's education, the platform? I always say language is something that we talked about for years. We love to use words, NFTs, crypto, and all these stigmas that already exist with it. So it's stupid to say it. But beyond that, right? Like, what do you still think from a Web 2 to Web 3 perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, it seems like there are multiple questions that you're asking there. So number one, it's about kind of what are the advantages of Web 3? And then the next question is like, what's causing Web 2 brands to, what could we kind of do to accelerate Web 2 brands coming into Web 3, right? So I think on the first question, which is like kind of like what are the advantages of Web 3, which I think is what is most passionate about. And for context for us, like we've been looking into Web 3 since 2022. We've spent a lot of time with Solana even back then. So we've been spending a lot of time in the space. So I think the core advantages with Web 3, especially within collectibles and any kind of valuable product, is the transparency backed by the provenance of everything being on chain. Like that's really, really valuable if you can kind of like accurately see who owns what card and what, in a public way, see how that card is trading hands. That becomes a really, really valuable, thing to be able to do for any given product. Right now, in Web 2, like the only products that actually really do that within the collectibles market are maybe graded products, but you actually don't see how it's transferring between different people. And then you also have other SKUs like sealed and raw physical cards that you don't necessarily see the provenance for in an open manner. So I think that's one thing, is like being able to track the provenance and transparency. The second thing, which I actually am most excited about, is actually being able to share in the economic upside of the platforms doing better. So if you think about, a lot of the kind of the core Web 2 platforms now that have kind of reached scale, they've kind of, get to a point where they almost have like monopolistic levels of control and they're able to take lots of economic value. So if you think about a company like eBay, right? eBay, very, very early mover. They've been able to scale their platform meaningfully over the span of the last, 2.5 decades. And then they've been able to basically have monopolistic power in terms of raising their fees, right? So they started maybe at 5% and they've surged over to 13% now, right? And you have other platforms that are also kind of taking on such monopolistic things, which again, there's nothing wrong with necessarily having a monopoly, especially in certain markets. But I think that the value of Web 3 is how can you then get the community to share in the economic upside of that, right? In a sustainable way. So how do you get like the users to actually kind of like meaningfully benefit from that economic upside? And I think that's the thing I'm most excited about, as a potential for Web 3 is how, generating more economic opportunity at scale for the community as you grow as a business. So that for me is really, really exciting. And, economic opportunity can be in, the platform grows as a third party seller, you can acquire more customers, you can sell more. That's great. But what you actually realize within a lot of these platforms is the value is actually in the equity. Right? It's actually in the equity of the underlying business. And I think Web3 enables that a lot more seamlessly, which is fantastic. So that's what I would say in the first things that I think Web3 has an advantage of is the transparency and sharing of economic value that's created by the platform.
Totally. And that's why I was like, digital creator economies are something I'm really, really bullish on. And I think it's great to hear it from you as well, that is the mindset, because I believe if you're going to grow, if you're going to exponentially grow, I think you have to figure out the ways to, the beauty of Web3, building with the community, building in public, the community being involved, and of course the creator. And I even go further, right? Like for me, I think like one of the things also I'm really bullish on, especially from what you're building, as I look back, I remember having to like figure out whether the dealer is authentic, whether the dealer has actually like been in the business for a while, like what does he actually collect? Does he know about it? Or is it like a car salesman pitch? Like, there's so many things that like require the resume that of who I'm dealing with. And I think with what you're building, you're going to be able to have that resume, the badges, like I'm saying, like, yeah, like you know, I have certain collections, I've traded certain amount of volume, I've done a lot of these things, so that their confidence for a buyer is a lot more, and the seller is also well like giving themselves the credit they deserve. Because when I look at Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff could be botted easily, right? Like a lot of the things could be like the things that we are seeing in the Web2 space. Like I can never know whether, yeah, man, this guy's real. He's got 1 million followers, but like then I look at the counts and it's like not really 1 million, and it's like, man, okay. Whereas the transparency in Web3, like for me, it's like, okay, I know I'm dealing with Javon, and he's been in this business for 5 years, and he's done about 1 million or more, so people trust him, and like it's like it's more accurate pricing. Like you know, for me, those are the things that I think Web3 brings that Web2 hasn't been able to bring.
Yeah, that's an awesome point as well, is being able to kind of verifiably prove that someone has actually done a certain amount of transactions. And I think, I think one of the advantages that we've had with the live streaming is being able to actually put someone's face on stream that's selling a product. Like it's very difficult if your face, to kind of like mislead users if you're actively talking to them, you're building a community. And I think live streaming helps solve that. But I definitely agree with you. I think that like being able to verify someone's credibility externally is a really, really valuable component. And then, so, to your second question, which is like, what kind of could make more brands coming into the space? I think we all know that, like, with any given market, with any new market, there are booms and busts, right? Like if you think about like in American history, there was railroads. You think about like the banking system. You think about like oil and gas. There's just booms and busts that happen and especially when new markets are starting, like you just have those, boom and bust cycles that happen a lot more frequently. And, I think that's been a challenge with crypto. I have a lot of really good friends from college who have like, been in the crypto market for like at least, almost a decade, and they've gone through the booms and busts and like, seeing their experience, but also seeing the experience of like people who don't know anything about crypto, and maybe they just hear about the bust. Right. And I think that makes it challenging. But I think the advantage now that, the Web3 space has is, executive support from kind of like the administration that's in office now in the US. Like there's a lot of support for Web3 being and crypto being like a core part of, our kind of national tech stack as a country in the US. And I think that's going to be a huge kind of tailwind for the broader US, for the broader kind of adoption of Web3 technology, which is fantastic, right? And I think it also, especially as you start to see, AI becoming so much more prevalent, Web3 almost becomes like a really, really important, that transparency in terms of into systems and how things are going becomes a lot more important. So I think that, I'm very bullish for the adoption of Web3, just given the executive sponsorship and the pace at which just the technology adoption is getting kind of endorsed across the country.
Yeah. I think people are asking us to stop with the yapping and get to the alpha, but I have a question before we go into that.
Yeah.
There's a prediction market out, I guess, on which way do you open the pack? Do you open it left to right or right to left?
That's a good question. I open, I'm trying to see if I have any packs, any kind of unopened packs that I can find, but I usually actually open it from top to bottom. Actually.
Oh, dude, no one's gonna win if you're gonna say top to bottom. Oh man.
Well, no, because if it's for physical packs, that's what you have to do.
Okay.
You have to do top to bottom. I do it on the side and I rip it on the side, or I maybe go through the back.
All right. But on the Solana Game Pass, do we know? Are we able to know how it's gonna open or no?
Well, we can look at it together, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
We may as well just look at it together. So guys, as you guys know, I'm not sure if you want to tee this up, or I can tee it up. Let me know what you want to
go for it. Tee it up.
Yeah. So as you guys know, like as a part of the Solana Gaming Pass, we're helping to build out the reveal experience for the Solana gaming community on the DripShop Live platform. And so we've been working. Our engineering team has been working tirelessly over the last few weeks to kind of get this experience going. And so we have a version now that's like 95% there. We're gonna get the other 5% working by tomorrow. But I wanted to give you guys a sense of what that experience will look like. And again, this is going to be a live demo, so we'll see how it goes. So when you come into the platform, you're going to kind of see you're going to go through a page before this that's going to kind of have you connect your wallet. So in this case, I've already connected my wallet. And then you're going to have to go through and just like enter some information about yourself, right? So I'm going to enter, some information about myself here, kind of create a username, and then you can just go ahead and continue to reveal. Okay, that username email is taken. So this is what happens when you do stuff live. And then you go to a page. So you go to the reveal page. So you will see something like this, and you will then, go through the process of actually revealing. And so, open pack, and we'll have the reveal experience. And then it rips on the top.
Open right to left.
Yeah. Well, left to right on my screen, and then you'll see like you'll see what you got. And again, obviously there are 10,000 in prizes. I think there's the highest prize is 500 USDC, and then the next lowest is $10. But then you may not actually get a prize, so you may get $0. And I was unfortunate to get $0 here.
You gotta try harder, man. You gotta get good.
You gotta get good. But what we will do is we'll also give an offer here to try out our own instant packs on Drip's platform. So you'll get a claim for $25 off for one of our Pokemon packs as well.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So that's going to be great. And then you can also, one of the also things you can also share it. So you can share it on any other platform, whatever you got. So if you got a dud, or if you got something great, you can share that. And then you can kind of go in and open all your packs. So I'm going to open my last pack. Hopefully I get something. Fingers crossed that I get something good from this. We'll see.
Look at that.
I gotta
0-0. You strike out, man.
I struck out there. That's tough. But hey, that's part of the game. I hope you guys are much more lucky than I am in this. But that's the core reveal experience. Again, this is not live yet. It's going to be live by tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. But this is the core experience that you guys can expect.
Man, yeah, Javon. Well, give us a little tour while you're here sharing your screen, if you don't mind, of Drip Shop Live.
Yeah. So I will go ahead and give you guys a tour. So one other experience that you guys will be able to have, and I'm probably gonna have to give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to send some funds to this wallet to be able to show you guys. One of the things I really like about, personally as a user with Web3 is just being able to kind of the ease of transferring kind of funds is just amazing. It's so easy. Once you have the wallet set up and everything, it's very, very convenient for me as a user. Okay, so I'll go in here and again, I'm just getting some funds into a wallet. And then we'll give you guys a tour. Okay. Okay, still getting set up. Okay, so I'll give you guys a quick tour as we go through. So when you come on the site, especially if you come on from the Solana Gaming link, you'll be sent to a specific pack on site, and then you can kind of choose what categories of products you're interested in. And this just helps us to surface better things to you down the line. But I'll give you guys a broader tour of the site. So when you come on the site, you will see you'll see some of our instant pack products, which we'll talk about. You'll also see a feed of everything that's been recently pulled. And then you also see different streams that are live on the platform right now that you can kind of go into and purchase product from. So you'll see lots of these different streams. You can go into a stream if you want to, especially if you're new to collecting. You can kind of go into a stream and purchase you could purchase inventory, talk to a streamer, etc. Today's a holiday. It's also early in the morning, so we have a few streams live, so you can just go in and check them out. And so the instant pack experience as well is here. And so you can, as a user, you can kind of go to any of these packs. It's pretty standard, and you can Give me 1 second. So I'm gonna think things are ready. So go ahead and swap. Okay. All right. So you're on the platform, and then you could basically, decide to, you see this is our instant pack page. You'll see a feed of all the hits that people have pulled. You also see, things that are just most recent here. This is the reveal screen here, and you can kind of see a few things. So, whether or not the pack is vaulted, insured, and provably fair, which is very, very important. So this is a way for you as a user to be able to understand whether or not an actual, whether or not like the odds that we've configured in the pack are actually as we say they are. And then you can obviously see like some more things here. And then on the right hand side, you will see some a feed of other packs. And again, we have packs across different categories, packs that we have with different brands, different creators, which I mentioned earlier. So you can kind of see all that stuff here, and then you can make the decision to purchase a pack.
And I think like one cool thing is this creator stuff. So like
Yeah.
I think maybe the other one that we should tell them is like I don't know if this is too much alpha, but like maybe you wanting live stream these Solana game packs might get them bonuses, but I don't know how much alpha I'm allowed to leak.
For sure. So So one of the things, so we won't be able to do natively Solana game packs in this flow because we had to build something custom for Solana gaming. But you are able to, for just these packs, kind of do reveals in live streams as well, which is really, really awesome. We are gonna probably, we'll continue to talk to figure out if we can next season, how do we actually enable it natively on platform. But yeah, all these are here on platform, which is really great. And you can do the reveals of your Solana gaming packs as well on stream if you want to. You just have to do a screen share. But that's basically the platform. And then we have some stuff around, this is kind of our marketplace, which is all the vaulted inventory. You have the reward center here where you can kind of like aggregate rewards, which are called driplets on our platform. You have a leaderboard as well, where you can kind of see who's gotten the most points on platform. And then, the other thing is like we also have giveaways. So this is probably some alpha. If you're just getting into trading cards, this is a great page to go to and just kind of like enter giveaways for free stuff. Like people. People are just
supposed to tell them that. You're supposed to let me go first and then tell everybody.
Yeah. So this is like a lot of like, this is basically all our community that's giving away all these products. So you can kind of go in, and some of them are, there's definitely some spam here, but like there's also some good stuff, right? Like, so like, these are like packs, which is, this is pretty awesome. Like 2 Vivid Voltage packs. You have someone here that's giving away a $450 card. Obviously we need to validate the worth of that card, but it should be that amount. So this is also a great kind of place to go get some free product as well if you're just getting into the hobby and you kind of want to just explore.
Yeah, I think like a couple things. It's funny, man. You're seeing this like kind of free stuff and like the way that they are, but I don't know if you watch like the people or like you see the people that like are weighing like the packs at like Target and Walmart, and like they're trying to weigh the pack to see if like this one's like, and so it's like actually kind of funny with seeing this. It's like you can't do any of that stuff.
You can't
through gamification.
You can't weigh you can't bring a scale to drip and weigh the packs. But yeah, you can kind of go on and there's a lot of free stuff there. And obviously, for the Solana gaming community, we are going to be having some discounts as well. So even if you do, if you're not like me, where you don't get to pull a valuable prize card, you can also kind of get some discounts on our platform too.
Love it. I love it. Well, Javon, man, this is killer insights. Congrats on what you've built, man. And I need to say a massive thank you. Just for those that are watching, I came to Javon with this idea a while ago, and I told him, hey, man, I got something really crazy. And I was like, are you ready for me? And he was like, hi, first of all, my name is Javon. Nice to meet you. And I was like, yeah. Let's get past that. I want to show you what I want to do. And I appreciate you just jumping on the same ship as me and the craziness and saying, hey, like, totally, like, let's take this idea. as a marketer, I'm a huge believer in people that just experiment. And I think that's what marketing is all about. And so just thankful that you took that ship with us as well, and excited for tomorrow, and excited. Look, we got 48,000 or 49,000 mints already. I think like I'm going to be excited to see the unveils, but I'm more excited about seeing the winning prizes, because I know we haven't unveiled it all. And I think like we've been gamifying this whole season pass. We started the season pass and didn't tell anybody about these cards. We started the season pass and didn't tell anybody about really what the real money is behind it as it keeps growing and growing. So I think there's a little bit more hidden tricks that we got up our sleeves. So really excited to see the next iteration of the season pass keep going.
Yeah, super excited about it, and obviously really thankful for the trust that you guys placed in us and the partnership. And I would actually call this out. Like I actually didn't do any of the work. It's my co-founder Sameep and our engineers Chetan and Sonu that actually did, and our designer White that did a lot of the work. I was just kind of more trying to vet and kind of control the energy as much as I could into kind of like getting something done. So
Awesome.
Really appreciate you guys' partnership with this as well.
Appreciate it. Well, man, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see what you really opened. Hopefully you actually win something. And if not, you're just going to have to get better, man. Get good.
All right, for sure. All right. Thanks so much, Jorge.